A lot of big developments in Frankfort in just the last half hour. Lawmakers passed a number of bills, including sports betting, the bourbon barrel tax, and medical marijuana.
WDRB's Monica Harkins at the Capitol trying to keep track of everything on this historic, busy last day of the session. Monica, while the vote for medical marijuana took place in the House, the Senate was also voting on that sports betting bill.
Scott and Hayden, we literally were running across the sides of the Capitol. For those that don't know, of course, the Senate and House, complete opposite sides. Both of those votes, medical marijuana and sports betting, happening at the exact same time. So definitely a busy afternoon. We'll get to sports betting here in just a minute, but I want to talk first about medical marijuana. While this passed, it is going to Governor Beshear's desk. He's expected to sign it, but something to note, it doesn't go into effect immediately. This is actually going to not take effect until 2025. Lawmakers today saying that's on purpose. They want another chance to really get in there and get nitty-gritty on this medical marijuana bill and continue to clean it up next year before it takes effect. Kentuckians can soon apply for a medical cannabis card if they are diagnosed with cancer, PTSD, MS, chronic pain, and chronic nausea, to name a few. A new addition to the qualified diagnosis list is any diagnosis that Kentucky Center for Cannabis Research deems feasible. The cannabis can then be administered through a licensed dispensary in its raw form, a topical cream, edible product, or vaporized product. The raw form dispensing is where some lawmakers had issues with giving this bill their yes vote, saying it could be smoked if it's given out in that raw form, even if it's not legal in the bill. But those seeking to use medical marijuana say they're looking for pain relief, not to get high.
Well, you're talking about somebody's going to be awful grateful to a lot of people. I don't know how to repay the favors, but there's a lot of us going to be better off if this passes today, and hopefully it will.
Sympathetic with those that think that marijuana is the answer, but the reality is that there is insufficient scientific evidence that marijuana is safe and effective as a medication.
The bill also sets up licensing and regulation measures for growing medical marijuana here in Kentucky. Now, we talked about it was a busy afternoon, so bourbon barrel taxes, that's something we've been heavily covering at WDRB News. That passed as well. It is going to need a final okay over in the House side because it had a change. They wanted to, in the Senate, lengthen the time before this tax on bourbon barrels aging in Kentucky would be phased out. We've heard school districts, counties, cities pleading with lawmakers to not remove this tax because of the millions of dollars tied up in it. There are about $30 million each year from these bourbon barrel taxes that go to those district schools and counties. We'll have more coming up on that later tonight. But lastly, let's talk about sports betting. I know a lot of people are interested in this topic. With that passing out of the Senate just within the last 20 minutes, this is something that will still need the governor's signature, but we know this is something he is in favor of. This makes Kentucky the 37th state to legalize sports wagering, and this will be something available at horse tracks. And if the phone apps are affiliated with the horse track, you can access sports wagering in Kentucky on your phone. Now, we're looking at the bill now. We're fairly certain that there is not an emergency clause, meaning it wouldn't take effect as soon as the governor signed it. It would go into effect this summer. We'll continue to bring you updates from the Kentucky Capitol tonight at 10 and 11, so be sure to stay tuned with us. For now, I'm live at the Kentucky Capitol with photojournalist Neil Johnson. I'm Monica Harkins, WDRB News.